In 2006, there was a movie called The Prestige. It was by Christopher Nolan, so it's gonna be good. But it wasn't one of his more famous movies, so you might not have heard of it. Anyway, I'm just gonna recap it real quick for the sake of the video. The film is about two rival magicians, Alfred Bordon, played by Christian Bale, and Robert 𝙤𝙬, played by Hugh Jackman. The film revolves around their rivalry to become the best magician in the late 19th century. Eventually, Bordon develops an impossible trick, the Transported Man,
He had a new trick.
where he walks through a door on one side of the stage and comes out through another door on the other side of the stage instantaneously. Eventually, after a trip to see Nikola Tesla, 𝙤𝙬 develops his own version of the trick, involving a cloning machine, which instantaneously clones 𝙤𝙬 and creates the clone in a nearby location. At the very climax of the film, we learn how both men did their trick. It turns out that Bordon was not one man, but two, a set of twins who both dedicated their lives to becoming one man together, all for the sake of this one perfect trick. 𝙤𝙬, however, clones himself and kills off the old version every time he does the trick. Anyway, this video is not about the movie or how they did their trick. This video is about what question does the movie ask the viewer. The question is, what makes you, you? I mean, are you the same person now as you were 5 years ago? At the surface, this might seem like a very simple question. Like, what makes me me? Like, of course I know what makes me me. Like, right? Surely I know, right? Well, to answer this question, let's look at three different perspectives. Firstly, we have the body theory, which basically says that who you are is based on your physical body or appearance. And yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, how do I know someone is someone I know? By the way they look. Like, okay, that makes sense. And then comes this guy, John Locke. He says that it's purely a matter of psychological continuity. Wait, what? Okay. That's a whole lot of fancy words, but it basically means it's based on your experiences and memory, like your consciousness, and not on substance of either the soul or the body. Okay, I can get behind that, like your memory, your experiences. That's what makes you you, right? And to be fair, this is the philosophy that Robert 𝙤𝙬 believes in. You see, 𝙤𝙬's clones are in all ways, physically and mentally, indifferent from each other. Every time he carries out his famous magic trick, the original 𝙤𝙬 is killed off and the clone 𝙤𝙬 now becomes the new original 𝙤𝙬. However, he doesn't see this as a death. He sees it as surviving through the trick. Because they're two psychologically continuous people and one of them is killed, doesn't mean the person's dead. Like, a version of him is still there, so he never dies, and that's the philosophy that he believes in. This view certainly challenges our typical notions of self, but you can get behind that, like it makes sense. Well, wait till you see what philosophy Alfred Bordon believes in. You see, the other main character, which is this Bordon guy, he holds a philosophy that is even more unique. It seems to be made up by Christopher Nolan, but you can definitely see the influence by David Hume. Well, who's David Hume? This guy? He's a Scottish philosopher from 1700s. You see, David Hume opposed the idea of self as a whole. Well, he says, the mind is kind of a theater where several perceptions successively make their appearance, pass, repass, glide away, and mingle in an infinite variety of postures and situations. There's properly no simplicity in it at one time, nor identity in different. Alright, bro. What was all of that about? Like, there's a whole lot of words to understand nothing. Anyway, let me explain, alright? His theory of the self is that there is no self. He says that the idea of self is an illusion, that at any given time, you are only experiencing the thoughts in your head. For example, you're now hearing me speak and feeling the chair beneath you. You might feel a little hungry or thirsty, but if you really look inside yourself, can you see a permanent self? I mean, sure, you may have memories of things you've done, but due to interference and such, memories are more often than not distorted in one way or another. Hence, they're just an interpretation. You may have heard of the ship of Theseus. It's an imaginary ship where, over the years, as its parts wear out, you replace them with new ones. Eventually, say after 10 years, all of the parts of the ship have been replaced. So let me ask you a question. Is it still the same ship? Well, if it's not the same ship, when exactly did it stop being the same ship? David Hume's view is kind of like that. He says, you are not the same person you were 5 years ago, and you will be a different person in 5 years to come. So, who are we but a bundle of perceived thoughts and feelings encased in an ever changing shell? I mean, think about it. If our memories were erased, would we be the same person? And if we could learn who we used to be from friends and family, is our sense of self internal or observed by others? Well, this is the view that Bordon embraces and adapts. The two twin brothers together make the one person, Bordon. Let's call the twins B1 and B2. Both B1 and B2 see their own lives as irrelevant and meaningless. Instead, they find their true identity in the shared personality of Bordon, who doesn't exist. The person that they are trying to emulate doesn't exist. But that's where they find their true identity because that's what the public sees. They even go to the point of lying to their wife. Well, you can tell one of them truly loves her, and the movie kind of gives it off at the beginning.
I love you very much.
Well, some days it's not true, and today you don't mean it. Maybe today you're more in love with magic than me. I like being able to tell.
Anyway, while researching for this video, one interesting thought occurred to me. You see, about 10% of people over the age of 65 develop Alzheimer's. And if you make it to 85, good luck, because that number bumps up to 30%. The thing that makes Alzheimer's so horrible is the fact that losing memories and experiences means losing yourself. Many people, including me, hope that when we die fulfilled, being able to look back at our own life and say, yeah, like I lived. But what if when you look back, you see faded faces and places that you don't recognize? I mean, the only thing we are guaranteed to bring to the grave are our memories and moments that mean a lot to us. But imagine not being able to do even that. Imagine the day you're on your deathbed. You look back and you see nothing. You look up and you see your daughter or son and your wife or your husband, yet you don't know who they are or why they are crying, and all you're faced with is confusion and the thought of eventual death. I mean, to die is one thing, but to die before you die seems unfair. I mean, simply thinking about it makes me uncomfortable and fills me with a sense of despair. There's a song on YouTube by The Caretaker. It's called Everywhere at the End of Time. It's supposed to emulate how Alzheimer's would feel, and he does a pretty good job at it. I recommend you to watch it. It's a whole 6.5 hours long, but it's worth it. The comment section, however, is filled with people who've lost their loved ones to Alzheimer's, and just going through it, it's sad. I mean, just take a look. This person said, "This is why my friends don't pass me the..." Wait, not this one. Okay, so this guy, sdiglock23, he said that dementia is a terrible thing. My 95-year-old grandmother has had it, and seeing the fear in her eyes is terrible. It's as if she's trying in her own way to cry out for help, but it's heartbreaking to know that no help will ever come. She seems to be somewhere around stage 5, closing in on stage 6, and about every 6 months I see her getting progressively worse. I came to the realization a while back that she's not the same person she used to be. That person is gone. So I have to mourn a person who is still alive. I mean, bruh, that's heavy. Well, at this point, you may look at me and ask, alright bruh, what is this video for? What are you making me sad for? Look, when you look inside yourself and try to ask the question, what makes you you? It's fine if you don't know the answer. It's fine if you don't know what makes you who you are. All I know is the people that truly love you loves you for who you are. So yeah, you may not be the same person now as you were 5 years ago, but I'm sure that the people that love you will be there for you even 10 years from now. So embrace them. Embrace them while you still can. Remember them, because it's not gonna be forever. Thanks for watching the video.